Hello everyone and welcome to YouTube Tuesday, session 172 with me, Jessica Brigden of Jess B, Creative Cardiology. Welcome, welcome. So glad you're here. Today I'm going to share an awesome tutorial for an easy faux step card. And if you're wondering, usually step cards have you have to use your trimmer and cut different slits in the paper at various dimensions. And that can be a bit confusing. So I'm going to show you an easy way to create that same look. And we're going to call it the faux step card. And I'm going to show you two variations. We are going to do one with this gorgeous new Garden Meadow, Meandering Meadow Designer Series paper. And we've got the cute little bird and dragonfly embellishments, which are back in stock. All right. Hi, Kathy. Hello, hello. And then the second variation, I'm going to use the Horse and Sleigh collection, which has the one horse open sleigh designer paper with the winter scenes and some snowflakes here. Hi, Quinn. Hello. All right, so we're going to do two different cards. We're going to do kind of like a winter and spring. Both of these collections are online exclusives, which means you won't find them in a catalog, but you will find them in my Stampin' Up! Online store. All right, and there's my host code. We've got just a couple days left for November. 2HU6RFK9. Hi, Alicia. Oh, you're substitute teaching today. Awesome. Boy, it feels so chilly here today. I don't even, you have to tell me what the temperature in Alaska is. It was 24 degrees here in New York today, which was pretty chilly with the wind blowing, and we had some snow flurries too, just a little bit. So, it's a rude awakening after being in South Carolina last week. And it wasn't all that warm down there. It was like in the upper 50s, low 60s. But hey, that was certainly better than the 20s here. Aw. All right, so my November special here was if you order $65 or more using my host code here, then I will send you a free package of these bird and dragonfly trinkets, which is pretty awesome. Ooh, 12 degrees in Alaska today up in the North Pole. Brr. But not actually that much colder than New York, so we're pretty chilly. All right, so this is the gorgeous pattern of the Meandering Meadows paper that I have chosen to use for my faux step card. And the reason being, I was looking for a design that had a central focus. All right, because when we do our faux step card, we're going to have a center panel that is going to be our main focus. And then this one has a nice little border of flowers along the bottom, and we've got some pretty scenery. So this works really well for this card design. Okay, and I've chosen some Highland Heather cardstock for us to coordinate. So really pretty here. All right, so when it comes to this, you do need if you take a full, like an 8.5 by 11 sheet, a full sheet of your Highland Heather cardstock, then you are going to cut at 5.5. So you're going to have a 5.5 by 8.5 panel. Let's see if I can move that so you can see the full sheet there. Okay. So one piece of the cardstock is 5.5 by 8.5, and the other piece is 4.25 by 8.5. Hi, Terry. Hello, hello. So you can get both these pieces from one 8.5 by 11 sheet of the Highland Heather cardstock, okay? And then you'll use the little trim that's excess for your scalloped circle, which I've used the double oval punch for that, okay? All right, so let me tell you the measurements here. So like I said, you take your Highland Heather cardstock, and along the 11-inch side, you cut it at 5.5, and then you cut a 4.25-inch piece. We're gonna do a little bit of scoring on this side, but that's what makes this nice. We do just a little bit of scoring, and then you don't have to worry about any fancy slits in the paper or anything like that. So we're gonna start and do our first score at the 1-inch mark. Okay, so make sure you've got your score blade in here. The 1-inch mark. You're gonna slide it over to the 2-inch mark. All right, so we're scoring at 1 inch, 2 inch, And then we're going all the way over here to 5 1/4. So 1 inch, 2 inch, and 5 1/4. All right, so that's for the first piece. And then on this second piece that's 4 1/4 by 8 1/2, you can either just fold this in half and burnish it, or if you like, just if you're one that likes to make sure everything is nice and scored, all right, just put it in there at the 4 1/4 mark and score that right in the center. All right, and that's all you need for the base, okay? So let me show you with this piece. Again, you're just gonna fold this one in half. This is your 4 1/4 by 8 1/2, fold it in half. Okay, that's going to be the center of our center step fold. On this piece, all right, we're gonna take this larger portion, all right, because you got a 1 inch, 2 inch, and then this larger portion. We're gonna fold that behind, and then we're gonna fold this at the 2 inch mark. We're gonna fold that up. Okay, so that should be even there, right? And then you're gonna fold the 1 inch section down. Again, go ahead and burnish that. So this creates our step. Here we go. And this is going to be the center. So when we put it all together, it's going to go like this. All right, put it in the center. All right, and then it'll be a faux center step card. All right, okay, so you know what you're looking at here a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to cut our Meandering Meadows paper here so that we can decorate our card. So to go on the front of our center, we need a 4 by 4 square. So I want to take the center of this gorgeous paper and make that my main panel. So I need a 4 by 4 section of that. All right, I'm going to use this bottom portion of the paper. I'm going to cut a 1 inch, or excuse me, a 3/4 inch strip, and that's going to go along the front here. And then I'm going to use the excess from the side panels, and that will go on the left and the right in here. All right, so let's grab our trimmer. Now I'll get my scoring blade out of the way here. You can tell I'm bundled up. I've got my turtleneck on underneath. I've got my cozy fleece. I'm chilly. All right, so looking at the paper straight on, I'm going to cut my 3/4 inch portion first. All right, so I'm gonna trim that off. You can go either way, left or right of your trimmer, but I'm gonna trim off a 3/4 inch section. Okay, that's gonna be for the front. Okay, and then I want a 4 inch section from the middle. So because this is a 6 by 6 paper, I'm going to trim 2 inches off of, actually I think I want more of this portion here. So let's trim 2 inches off from this left side. That way I still get the tree and the pathway. Let's go. And because each pattern, this Meandering Meadows paper is absolutely gorgeous. So depending on the section of the paper, you know, that you want, the measurements are gonna be the same, but you might trim your paper just a little bit differently so that you get the section you want. So I'm actually gonna go, let's go with a 1 inch strip from the left here. Okay, just trim off that section on the left. Save that, don't throw that away yet. Okay, and then let's go put that at the 4 inch mark, and then we'll trim a little bit off of the right for our path. This way, I have this nice center panel, and we've got a lot of sky up here, so let's trim that off. Again, put it in at the 4 inch mark. Okay, and then you can save your excess pieces. I know, Karen, this designer paper is so gorgeous. All right, so we have from our 6x6, now we are down to a 4x4 panel of this center, this main image here. Okay, so let's take this. This is going to go on our 4 1/4 by 8 1/2 piece. Now you might be thinking I said this was easy. Well, it is. The cutting the cardstock and trimming is easy. The only thing that complicates it a little bit is depending on the paper you use and which section that you want. All right, so there we have the front. All right, like I said, we're going to use the strip that we cut off the bottom, that 3/4 inch strip. This is going to go along the bottom here. So I'm going to trim that excess off the left because that way I'll still have my pathways will match up. So let's just trim. This is 6 inches and I want it to be 5 1/4. All right, so trim a little bit off of that. All right, and you could put the wood grain. All right, it doesn't have to be all super matchy-matchy. You could mix and match your patterns here, but this little piece is 3/4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to put this on that 1 inch strip along the bottom. Okay. All right, so we need our little left and right panels. All right, so we saved those to go on the middle here. So this section is 3 1/4. All right, so that means we need to cut our designer paper to 3 inches. So I'm going to take the left side and I'm going to trim the excess off the sky. All right, so I'm going to put this in here at 3 inches and trim off the excess. Okay, so that's going to give me a 1 inch by 3 inch piece to go along the left. Yep, got a little stringy of my adhesive there. Okay, and then we're gonna take the other, this is the right side panel, and we're gonna do that same thing. We're gonna trim this down to 3 inches. All right, there we go. And that's it for all of our little trimming here. Okay, so put adhesive on that. This goes on the right side. So this is a great project for 6x6 paper because we used the entire 6x6 sheet. We've got just a little bit of scrap here, right? And that's it. You can, depending on the pattern, right? You can use that for another project. All right, so this is what we have. Okay. Ooh, Karen says it's nice out there. 50 degrees. Oh, not going to go above 50. Well, 50 is better than 24. All right, so fold this all up again. All right, so you get the idea for your stairs. And then we've got our top panel, our center, makes it the center step. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna open our center. And right along the top here, you can use your Stampin' Seal. If you want a little more control, you could put a little strip of tear and tape up there, whatever works for you. Put a little bit of adhesive right along the top. We're gonna take that top piece, fold this all up, find the center of your card, and then place that adhesive, place the edge here, right along the edge. And you can even go ahead and burnish that, okay? Make that adhesive nice and sticky, okay? So that sticks, oops, sticks right here to the front. All right, you're gonna turn it over, keep your card closed, and then we're gonna do the same thing along the top edge of the centerpiece. Put a little line of adhesive or tear and tape. All right, keep the section closed and then just fold this right over the top. If we've folded everything correctly, then it should line up right at the bottom or pretty close. All right, I've got like a 1/16 of an inch there. We're not gonna worry about that. All right, then look at that. We have our center step, our faux center step. We did not have to cut any, you know, cut any super slits in our paper or anything to get this really cool center panel. And look how nicely the pattern carries across. All right, so great use for this Meandering Meadows 6x6 paper. All right, so you might be wondering, well, where do you write? All right, so if we open the card, we actually have a nice 3 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch section in here. So I cut a piece of basic white at 3 inches by 5 1/4. All right, 3 by 5 1/4. Gonna tuck that right inside so you've got plenty of space to write. Thank you, Nessa. Yeah, this is such a fun shape, nice space. And if you need more room, if you're writing a longer message, you could always flip this over and you could put a piece of 4 by 4 basic white cardstock on the back and you could have more room on there too. All right. Oh, good, Sandy. I'm glad that you enjoyed this. All right, so if we want a little greeting here on the front, we do have some room. Again, I pulled in my double oval punch and I punched the scallop oval from just the excess, all right? Because we used one 8.5 by 11 sheet of Highland Heather to cut both the sections that we needed. So you have some scrap left over, which you can use for your scalloped oval. And then just a little bit of basic white for the smaller oval. And if I pull in my Garden Meadow set, the Hello stamp will fit nicely here on our oval. So let's pull in some Highland Heather ink for that. Okay. Pretty, pretty. Add a little adhesive to glue these together, and then I'm gonna pop the scalloped oval up with a couple of dimensionals. Okay, and I don't want to cover up my pretty design, so you can decide. You can put your message down at the bottom, you could put it up here at the top, kind of in the sky. You really could put it anywhere you like. I think I'm gonna go top right, and that way I'm not covering the trees or the pathway or anything. And then I'm gonna come in, we'll finish this off with some of our birds and dragonflies. These are really nice because they're like our brushed brass butterflies. They're super flat, so it makes them really nice to put on cards that you're gonna mail because they don't add any extra bulk. So how about we add, what are you guys thinking? Should I do birds? I wanna put something right up here. Should we do a bird or a dragonfly? You guys let me know, which is your favorite? Do you prefer the little birds or do you love the dragonflies? All right, so I'll give you guys a chance to comment, and then I'm gonna get the other card ready. And again, for this next one, I'm using the Horse and Sleigh collection. All right, so Kathy and Nessa are voting for a bird. Karen says bird. Okay, I think the birds are unanimous. And we've got birds going in, flying towards the left. We've got birds flying to the right. So I'm gonna take one of these flying towards the left so that I can put it right up here in the sky next to my hello. Okay, just really sweet and simple. Isn't that cute? All right, so that is our faux step card using the Meandering Meadows collection. All right, so that's card number one. Card number two, again, so you can get a look for how you can do this with different designer series papers. So for this next one, I'm going to use the Horse and Sleigh, the One Horse Open Sleigh designer series paper, another online exclusive. And this one's great because you've got all these gorgeous winter scenes. And in particular, and I actually have one, I think I've got just enough to do this card left. And all my scraps, you can see I did quite a bit with this collection. So the horse and the one horse open sleigh paper has two patterns with little A-frame cabins in them. And so for this one particular pattern, I have matched up with the Mossy Meadow cardstock. And this is the little cabin. I don't even have a full sheet left to show you. I can kind of show you what it looked like assembled here. Okay, so we had the trees, and then we had the woods here on the left and the right. So you can get an idea of what this sheet of paper looked like before I trimmed it down. So, all right, so this one I've already cut, but again, I started out with a 6x6 sheet of designer series paper. Again, I wanted the cabin image. This one has two little cabins to be my center, my focal point. All right, and then I did use a scrap. I believe this was the little pattern that has a little fox on it. All right, but it has a pretty wood grain, which I thought went nicely for the wood. So that's what I used for this. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're gonna do the same thing. So you take an 8.5 by 11 sheet of Mossy Meadow cardstock. Okay, and then on the 11-inch side, you're gonna cut it 5.5. Okay, and then you're gonna cut a 4 1/4 piece. And you'll have just a little bit of leftover. Okay, so for the 4 1/4 piece, I didn't even score that, right? You're gonna just fold this in half. 4 1/4 by 8.5, folds in half to become a 4 1/4 inch square. Okay, and then on our 5.5 by 8.5 piece, we score at 1 inch, at 2 inch, slide it over to 5 1/4 inches. All right, 1 inch, 2 inch, 5 1/4. Okay, then put the larger section at the top. This folds behind. Then at the 2 inch section, fold up. Okay, so that should be even. Okay, and then fold the 1 inch section down. All right, so that creates our step. Okay, all right. So from our designer series paper, now with this one, I cut a 1 inch strip off of each side, all right? Because we started with a 6x6, and I need a 4x4 center panel. So I cut a 1 inch strip off each side. All right, then along the bottom, I trimmed 2 inches off. That way I could get to 4x4. This is going to go right here in the center. And then from the leftover strips here, okay, make sure you keep your left and your right straight, okay, so that they'll match up. So these were 1 inch strips, and I trimmed them down to 1x3. So the 1x3, this one's going on the left. So this is in that center panel of your folded card on the left. And then the coordinating piece, 1 inch by 3 inch, goes on the right. Okay. And then on the little 1 inch panel on the front, take a coordinating piece. You want this at 3/4. So that's 0.75 by 5 1/4. And this will go right along the front here. Okay, very nice. Now to put this card together, we're going to open our 4 1/4 inch piece. Oh, we got a little sunshine streaming in here. That's really nice. All right, put a little adhesive right along that top edge. Okay, and then put this over your card. Find your center. All All right, and adhere that right along that bottom edge. Go ahead and burnish that to secure it. Okay. Then take your whole thing, flip it upside down, put your adhesive again along this bottom line, and fold it right up to the top. And look at that, that one turned out perfect, right even along the back edge of the card. Again, you can burnish that a little bit. Okay, when you put it all together, look how nicely that looks. Look how the trees match up on each side. Turn out perfectly. Again, we'll put a little 3 by 5 1/4 piece of basic white on the inside, so we have a place to write our message. Okay. Isn't that gorgeous? All right, and then again, you can use whatever die cuts you wanted, but I used my double oval punch because that just works out so nicely. All right, so let's go ahead. What kind of a greeting do I want? Let's see. I don't think any of our, well, the joyful would fit on here. I'm not sure if it's sending warmth your way. Let me check. Nope, that one's gonna be a little bit too long. So pull in a set with some shorter, smaller sentiments. So I'm going to use, let's see here. I've got a stash of stamp sets here. All right, let's go with my go-to greetings. All right, it's the easiest, go-to greetings. And these smaller fonts should fit here on our ovals. So let's see here. How about you could do a thank you. I think, yes, my thinking of you will just fit. Okay, I think that'll work. And of course, some Mossy Meadow ink to coordinate. All right, so do a little, ooh, that's juicy. Okay. Oh, that turned out pretty good. Sometimes when it's so juicy, you worry, but light touch on that. Okay, so I'm gonna wait, just let that dry just a little bit so it doesn't smudge on me. And take my dimensionals here for my scalloped oval. And this time, so the cabin's kind of in the center, and I don't want to cover this little stream of smoke or the trees. So I'm going to go right in the center. I don't want to do the bottom because it'll cover the little bridge. So let's just go right in the center here of our card. All right, that should be good. A little bit of stamp and seal on that. All right, super cute. And then with the horse and sleigh collection, we have the Adhesive Backed Snowflake assortment. So you've got white, gold, and copper color. I'm gonna use the smaller, you could really use any size you want, but I'm gonna come in here with my smaller ones. And let's see, let's go with the copper. You could do like a little stream of snowflakes. So I'm gonna put one up here by my sentiment. And then, this is up to you. Some people like to do all one color, and I kind of like to mix and match it. So I think I'm gonna put kind of the snowflakes falling down around my card here. Okay, so I'm gonna put all 3, one of each color, on the front, just for a little bit of whimsy there. But is that not the cutest thing ever? All right, so fun. And so same card, faux step card. One we used the Meandering Meadows designer paper, and the other one we used One Horse Open Sleigh. So that gives you an idea of how you can create this project using some different designer papers. All right, and I'll just give you a sneak peek because I did this for my my horse and sleigh, one of my winter classes. All right, this is another design. So this is the other A-frame cabin from the horse and sleigh paper with a night of navy theme, but it had the trees again going on either side. It This was lit up in the woods there. All right, so that's part of my horse and sleigh class. I think I have a couple leftover kits, so if anybody's interested in that to-go kit, just shoot me a message. I can post that, and I do have tutorials for these. But I hope you enjoyed this project, and we'll give it a try. This is the Faux center step card, okay? But it's great for one sheet of cardstock and one 6x6 sheet of designer series paper. So there we have it. We've got winter and spring. Looking hopeful that winter here is short and it will soon be spring. So I hope you've enjoyed these projects. Let me know how it works for you. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give me that thumbs up, like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. I appreciate it. When I stamp with you next, it will be on Friday, which will be December 1st. Whew. All right. We'll see you soon. Thanks all. Bye-bye.